We are back on record at 1:22. I'm going to continue on or talk a little bit more, and here's what I was trying to put my hands on a minute ago with reference to assets. Drop my sticker.
This I. What was I?
Well, I is what I'm marking right
Oh,
now.
okay.
I is going to be the consignor settlement from, is that pronounced head auctions or heed? Or,
Yeah. Head.
yeah. I believe before we went off the record, that's what this is the auction we were discussing here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was your inventory, and then you said it also included, I guess, various equipment and whatnot for T4.
Yeah, this is, looks like it all.
I mean, I see if you, well, let's see, yeah, page 4, you get down, you start seeing some water coolers, a grill, a wrought iron table. Switching over to page 5, I do see a few others.
Page 5?
Yes, sir. And when I say a few others, I'm just referencing generally to equipment as opposed to some of your inventory or stock that we talked about.
Okay.
And I think I've asked most of the questions sort of covering all this, and you mentioned, I guess when we first started, you could give me a list of what remains, is that correct?
Yeah, because, I believe this contract called for sale, plus he takes the remainder, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you mean
The auction.
okay, well, I see on the last page there, of course, he's got the, the total quantity of 196, which I guess that's 196 items.
Mm-hmm.
This total invoice sale price of $48,995.
Mm-hmm.
And then it looks like there were some expenses, commission, of course, of $97.99, and then there was a net that looks like that came to T4 of $32,846.
Mm-hmm.
Was this money deposited into a T4 account?
I don't know. I would assume, but I don't know.
Okay.
Again, those were,
Those were, I'm sorry, were you?
well, I just assumed they would be.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if you were trying to finish your thought. I was letting you. Okay. But you're still T4 still has whatever is left, but you have some stock. Excuse me, you have some equipment remaining.
Some office equipment, I would assume, is what you're talking about, yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about your headquarters there, the 15 Main Lane.
Yeah,
As I understand, that was sold, of course.
the property.
Right. And it was a quit claim to the Harrington International Consulting.
Yeah,
Okay. Why was it quit claim to Harrington International Consulting?
because it was in the process of sale,
Okay. And what was the purpose, though, of putting it in Harrington?
so that we could make a sale.
All right.
There
How
was
come
a
you?
lien on the property.
Okay. And how did that lien affect you from transferring it from T4?
I don't know what you mean by that. Now, how did it affect it?
Yeah. Well, how come you didn't simply sign it from sell it from T4 to whoever was wanting to purchase the property?
Because there was a bank lien on it.
All right. And how did that? I don't understand how that affected it.
Because
Explain that to
I
me.
needed to pay the bank off.
Right. So you transferred it from T4 to Harrington International so you could pay the loan.
Pay the loan off.
Okay. And you couldn't have paid the loan off from who ultimately purchased it?
No,
Why not?
because there was a lien on it. They had a lien on it. We had to settle those liens.
Okay. What kind of liens?
Brought $100-something thousand to the table.
Okay. What kind of liens?
I don't know. I don't know what.
Was it a lien beyond just on the property itself?
I don't know. I'll have to get back with you on that.
Do you have documents in your possession regarding the transfer from T4 to Harrington International?
Did I have documents? I'm
Do
sure
you-
we did.
Do you have documents?
Do I? Yeah. Now, those were provided to you, I thought.
Yeah, they are. They're in fact, they're
Yeah,
attached
they were
to its
all
complaint.
provided.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, and we'll get into depositions in that other case, most likely at some point, and we'll get into way more of that once we have a little opportunity to get through discovery. And but I'm trying to find out, at least from an asset standpoint, with T4 is really what I want to talk about with you a little bit. And one thing I do have that maybe you can help me understand a little bit. HIRJ, yeah.
Yeah,
That may be the same thing. That
It-
may be
it
a
is.
better
This
copy
one-
to look at than what I
This is
have.
not signed, but it's easier to read. Yeah.
Did T4, when it sold this property to, well, let me, what, and this, actually what I just handed you is the settlement statement. Let me make sure, let me clarify a few things here just to make sure I've got all this right. Because this, well, T4 first sold the 15 Mangum Lane property to Harrington International, correct? Did Harrington International then sold it to who?
To something metal company, I know.
It's up here.
Yeah, and
Metal Building Company
metal
LLC?
building LLC.
Okay. Who are the principals of Metal Building Company LLC?
I don't know. I mean, Asa, the rep was, or what I assumed as the owner is Asa. Hayes, Haynes,
Okay.
Haynes.
Haynes. And I see, it looks like the contract price when the property was sold from Harrington International to Metal Building was $635,000, is that correct?
That sounds correct.
Okay. Did Harrington International receive any proceeds as a result of that sale?
Absolutely not. Had to bring money to the table.
All right. And I see at the bottom it says cash from seller of $147,355.95.
Whatever it says, yes.
Okay. And now backing up, when the property was sold from T4 to Harrington International, did T4 receive any proceeds?
No.
What was that contract price?
I thought that was provided, but I'd have to see the documents. But
I don't think I've seen that.
really? Okay. We can get that.
Was it more or less than $635,000?
Again, it was, I'll have to check. But it was, it was a deal that I had to bring money to the table.
And you don't remember, as we sit here, who the liens were for that property?
Lane was with the builder of the building. We were in litigation with them, and he had a lien on the property, as I recall. So, and the deal for the sale of the building actually started a year before. It was a lease to buy from the metal guys.
Right.
Because, we had, the company's in distress and we had to close things. We had to sell to meet obligations and, of course, my intent was to pay people.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And looking back at what we've marked as Exhibit J, and again, it's easier to see on,
Yeah,
on
I
the
can't,
unsigned
I really
copy.
can't read
Yeah,
that.
no, I understand. And I see on there, line 518, payoff Daniel Rustin to Rustin Metal Building Company,
That's correct.
$25,005.
Yeah,
And is that the lien you were talking to?
That's correct.
Talking about earlier?
right. We were in litigation on his performance and so.
All right. And it looks like you had a mortgage with Citizens Bank in the amount of $538,306.
SBA loan.
Okay.
It should correspond back to one of your other exhibits.
Yeah. Okay. Help me to understand, and I don't know any other way to ask it, and maybe even it's more crass than I might be in another situation.
You're not going to offend me, go
Well,
ahead.
thank you. Because you talked a little bit, said we were in distress, we were selling stuff. What happened to T4? Why did T4 get in distress?
Non-payment primarily, and then when COVID hit, we were running an industrial group down in Louisiana, and they shut all the plants down. And then we were stiffed for over $1 million down there from different folks. Went through a run there where I was not getting paid, and people were taking advantage of us, not paying us back for Meridian Holding Group. Had a group that we won settlement on down in Panama City for a couple of $100,000, and they didn't. He'd sold all the assets, and they didn't pay.
Yeah.
So, my nature to try to pay bills. So I
Right.
started cutting and ripping and doing what we could do to pay people off.
All right. So, do you still hold the judgment on the Florida judgment you just mentioned in Panama?
Do I hold it?
Yeah, T4 hold it?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I'm not sure what Florida law is. They're good for 5, 10, or 7 or whatever years, but
Yeah.
It is, I think it's still good, last I checked.
okay, all right. And is that you said that company though that owed money on that judgment to T4 transferred assets or went out of business? What happened to it?
I don't know. My lawyer never really told me. He said, just don't worry about spending the money because you're not going to get it.
Right.
I'd already spent enough.
Don't talk about what your lawyer told you. Although,
Not
although
yet.
it
Well,
wasn't me.
let me clarify.
Any
that.
lawyer,
My-
no.
Yeah.
Any
yeah.
lawyer.
That lawyer, even if he's in Florida on another matter, still has certain protections. So,
Okay.
and but no, I understand, but I appreciate that. All right. Somewhere in your discovery, I got this, and it's a short-term lease with option to purchase with a tenant of Jacob Well Ministries.
That's that same group. I didn't recognize their name either. There's metal buildings, but
Oh,
there's
okay, well, that's where I was confused
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that. So this is the same group of people
Right.
who are a company that ultimately purchased the building?
And Jacob's Well is a Christian organization that takes drug addicts, rehabilitates them, and sort of their real rehabilitation is they build metal buildings, they do work in a 60-day program or 6-month program for these addicts, and so
Okay.
I didn't recognize her name either when you said that.
And is that what's in addition to your little space there? Is that one of the, are they still running that metal building group there?
You know, I contract when I hear our little space. We got a desk.
Well,
You know, that's it.
well, I thought little was fair.
And we were scheduled to be out of there shortly after the sale, but he's been gracious enough to let me keep my desk there, or Judy's did.
Okay, all right. Do you spend any time there at all?
It's too heartbreaking.
When is the last time T4 compiled a financial statement for any reason, really, bank or otherwise?
Well, it's in this process we're doing now for taxes.
Okay. Do you remember, and I don't know when the origination of some of these other loans we've talked about, but so for example, the line of credit or the sweep account, whatever term, did you do a what am I trying to say? I've lost my train of thought. Financial statement, thank you for that.
Again, I wouldn't know why T4 would do it. Once they satisfied the loan, that was it.
Okay. Well, I was going back when you applied for the loan.
Oh, when we
obtained the
applied?
loan.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you recall doing one at that time?
I had my CEO compile one.
Okay. And who was that again? I know you told me at some point.
Steve Pasquale.
Maybe you didn't tell me that.
That was not your CEO.
He was COO.
COO, yeah.
Yeah, I stand corrected. COO.
Where's Mr. Pasquale now?
I don't know. I heard he's in Bahamas.
Okay. When did he leave T4's employment?
I knew that date, but I forgot. It's like February of 2022, maybe.
Okay.
It's been several years.
So it's not
Huh?
not 2022.
That'd be a year ago from
No,
now.
it's 2 years ago, 21.
And why did he leave T4's employment?
Incompetency.
He left because he was incompetent, or his incompetence caused him to leave?
I relieved him because of incompetency.
I got you. There used to be a pizza place called Pasquale's. Is he connected with that in any way, or do you?
If he could be, he would.
All right, we talked about you're in process of getting your taxes together. Do you anticipate filing for an extension for T4's taxes for 2022?
I'll find that out this afternoon. I'm going to see him.
You have that same meeting scheduled that I have?
Yeah. We are trying not to. But that's usually not the case.
Does T4 owe any state or federal or local taxes for that
Yes.
matter? Tell me about, let's start with federal. Does it owe federal taxes?
You know, let me retract that.
Yeah,
because
and what I mean back taxes, not necessarily what you might owe for 2022. But
No, I'm not aware of any. There's I don't know if it's a tax or a fee.
okay, well tell me what you're talking about.
Well, you know, the construction you can apply for where you don't pay taxes on sales or materials bought, and it's based on a contract amount, not an actual income.
Contractor's tax. Is what
Yeah,
it's called.
contractor's tax. So we just got notice that we owe money.
And what is that amount?
I think it's around 400,000.
Is that a state or federal? I don't know much
State.
about state. Yeah.
T4's paid its taxes through the years, but this is something that is new.
Okay. T4 have any judgments? Owe any money on some judgments other than what we're here about today?
No, no.
T4, other than I guess this contractor's tax, hired the judgment we're here about today, what other liabilities does T4 have that you're aware?
Completion of the contract.
And that's the Starkville
Start.
and I guess Keesler's. Would that fall in that category too?
Not
No,
completion,
we're
but it's
not.
litigation and
Okay.
claims.
Yeah.
There are claims.
Not quite as bad as it looks.
Believe me, it is.
Did you guys use any software to keep track of your construction projects?
Well, the the government does call
Okay.
it. Are you familiar with it?
Which
RMS.
One? RMS. Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a handful of those out that track all that, like every profession.
It stands for Residence Management System.
Okay.
And if you really want to be tormented, get into it.
Yeah, and that's what I understand. You sort of track due dates, track.
Schedules, payments, official letters.
Do you still maintain all of that, all the documents for the past projects after the last 5 years?
Well, all past projects didn't use it.
Okay. All right.
I understood your question to be, do we do it now?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, and when you say do it now, what projects are you using it on now?
start.
Okay.
And that's the only one we've done.
Okay. Did you, well, then let me ask a better question. Thank you for that. Did you, and you just when did you start using the RMS?
Beginning of the project, November of, 3 years ago?
Okay. And and you use no other software to track project scheduling and due dates and invoicing?
Other than our QuickBooks, no.
Okay. And have you, forgive me if I asked this, on your QuickBooks again, do you still have all of the documents and data in there, say, for the last 5 years?
I would assume.
Okay. You haven't made it, you haven't deliberately gone through and had it deleted or wiped out for any reason? Okay. Does T4 own any intellectual property? Copyrights, trademarks, anything? I think we talked, there's no stocks or bonds or other securities that T4 owns. Does
No.
T4 have any notes that it's owed other than the Webster Electric that we discussed earlier?
Now, I don't know Webster.
Did I get that wrong? But the 250 on the
owe
Meridian.
me.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Are there any others that
Well,
T4
I mean, that's a statement as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's all been in litigation and all
Right,
that, and
right.
so I don't know what to.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think I don't want to beat that up anymore. I'm wondering if there's anything else that we hadn't talked about today that T4 is owed money, has a note, or is expecting, other than what we've already talked about, whether it be that note, Keesler, or the project at Starkville. Is that a no?
Unfortunately,
Okay. And does T4 own any real estate at this
No.
time? Does T4 have any leases? that it is receiving lease payments from
No,
anywhere.
no.
All right. Let me see here. So the only, if I've, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm gonna put aside this contractor's tax, because I'm gonna hope you can take care of that somehow or another, and this guy will help you, I'm sure. Is the only liability that's still outstanding for T4 the judgment we're here on, and then I guess you categorize the two projects as liabilities, Keesler,
Absolutely.
and that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. T4 have any safe deposit boxes?
No.
Is there any, other than I guess Keesler, and I'm not sure who's the parties in the Meridian, any other lawsuits pending either with T4 as a defendant or a plaintiff that we haven't talked about?
Just the Keesler.
Okay. Are you currently employed anywhere?
No. I work by the hour. About $40.
I think that's all I have. I appreciate your time and answering all these questions. You have anything you want to add?
No, just send us a list of what additional documents
Yeah,
you want.
yeah,
and
I'll get up.
We'll get them to you.
Yeah, I will. I'll get a list of it just so I can, for the sake of thoroughness on that, I guess. And with that, I'm gonna go off the record. Maybe it is. Yeah, it's funny. I said 1:22 a minute ago. That was not the time. That was. It's 11:31. We're going off the record.